a chair and let's chill. Let's party, let's talk and let's build. Yeah, alright, let's talk over drinks.
Welcome back, Talks Over Drinks, part 2 of the husband and wife episode. Like, we've never had a husband and wife episode in the whole 5 years.
That's
That's what's good. Got your own
be the
card.
first of many.
Yo, welcome into the hot seat, Corey Fowlkes, Markel Prines. Welcome into the hot seat. This brother, if you're trying to get your investments right, if you're trying to get your life insurance right, to leave generational wealth to the people that's coming behind you, this is the man that you need to be talking to. He is a whiz at the whole investments, generational wealth. Welcome into the hot seat, Chesterfield, Virginia. We got Jeff Fowlkes in the house. What's up? Good to see you.
Likewise.
This is like a year, and we've been trying to get this going for a year.
Oh yeah.
So we happy that he's sitting down. Investments. I'm gonna tell you the reason why I wanted to invite Jeff on the show in the first place. Toastmasters International. Mm-hmm. There was another investments person that came in, and the thing that resonates in my mind about her presentation is that you're not investing and preparing for issues with regard to your health when you retire. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your background, Jeff. I know that you have a Master's of Law degree from Regent University. Yep. Shout Regent University, Christian-centered education. Regent, I've been to visit many times. Tell our viewers in retirement what they need to be saving for.
Well, you need to be saving to keep living. but also, you need, because the reality is, you're either on one end of the spectrum or the other. Either you're going to be living or you're going to be dying.
Okay.
Right? But really, how much you need to have saved is dependent upon the lifestyle you want to live in retirement.
Okay.
And people don't think about that. They just figure, ooh, I ain't got to go to work no more.
Right? Yeah, that's
right.
For real.
But do you want to just go to your front porch, sit down, and, with your cup of coffee and your drink and chill? Or you want to travel, right? You want to do these different things that has now become a norm. Whereas
where you are,
right, 50, 60 years ago, what about traveling like that? They just retired
and
they chilled out, and they chilled, right? And they ain't lived but statistically 10 years after, right? So really, your lifestyle that you want to have in retirement is going to determine how much you need to be saving for, how much you need to have saved.
Okay,
that's just
So Social Security, 401k. Your perspective is we need to be saving more than that, or we need to be investing more than that. So tell our viewers, if you were talking to somebody that just had a 401k plan, just was relying on Social Security, how far is your money going to take you in your retirement years?
Good question, right? So Social Security is guaranteed. Not necessarily for the new generation, right?
Right.
But for people that's getting it now, they'll get it until they die.
Okay.
Right? Your 401k, not so. Right? That is money you have put in and invested. And so if you haven't done a whole lot of investing, you're going to have a small nest egg.
No doubt.
But when that money's gone, you only got Social Security. That's it.
Right.
So really, you need to start as young as possible putting in to some type of investment vehicle. But then the other part to that is taxes. You know, when we talk about taxes. Right. So that 401k money is going to get taxed because it's growing tax deferred.
Jeff, come on.
It's growing tax deferred. So they let you put it in, right? They say 30 years go by, you got $500,000 in there. Woo, you like, I'm gravy. Right? how long is that $500,000 gonna last, right?
What they gonna tax you at?
Oh, it's taxed as income.
Once you cash out.
Right. Once you start getting them distributions, it's taxed as income. So whatever if you was making 100,000, right? You hopefully have downsized your lifestyle to not have $100,000 lifestyle, because your tax bracket is going to be that
jump
based on how much you getting in distribution.
Wow.
So you got to consider taxes in retirement. So you got to tax diversify, right? You got to have different retirement buckets that give you different types of taxation.
So give an example of how you would diversify to minimize your tax being. I don't know what kind of word.
I follow you. So one strategy is whole life insurance, right? Because the cash value, grows tax deferred as well, but you can withdraw it tax free. So, for example, if you need $50,000 a year to live on in retirement, and just say you're getting $2,000 a month Social Security, and you got a 401k, right? And say you could make up the difference in that 401k, but what you would want to do is reduce the distribution from the 401k to say maybe 1,000, right? So now we at 36,000 a year, and the other 14,000 you can pull out in cash value. So what that does is your taxable income at that point is only based on the 36,000, not the full 50, because the other 14 is coming from tax-free money.
Okay.
So that's one way of doing it.
Okay. What would you say to young people? Like, I have a 21, I have a 19-year-old, I have a 26-year-old. What would you say to young people that would properly prepare them to plan for their retirement when they're going to be getting to retirement age? As they're saying, well, I'm working, I'm taking all this money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really thinking about being old because I'm not old. You know how young people think, right?
Yeah, never gonna go.
I'm never going out of here. I'm living forever. What would you say to those young people to get them to cognitively think about retirement age?
Really, again, start now. If you want a lifestyle that nobody else got in the future, you need to start preparing for that now.
Okay.
Because the issue always comes, and it's never have changed with people work. Again, the last 5-10 years, they figure, all right, I'm ready to retire, so now I'm going to start doing something with my money.
Right.
But the reality is you don't have the time horizon to make the money grow.
Time horizon.
Right.
See these terms that we learn in this show.
Yeah, we
you
hear
know what I'm
some
saying?
different stuff today.
Time horizon.
Time horizon.
And when you say time horizon, just because you're older and you don't have enough leeway.
Pretty much. Yeah. So you can retire really at any age you want, right?
Right.
If you can afford it.
Right.
That's the reality. But it also, if you're going to use a qualified retirement account, meaning 401k, a TSP if you work for federal government, or anything like that, there's restrictions. 59 and a half is the earliest you can get that money without taxes and penalty. Okay. So if you're going to follow that system, if you 50 and you ain't invested nothing, but you only got
9 years.
Right, unless you plan on working till you're 70 or 80, because you need the money to grow. And so the reality is you start investing, right? And then market crash right before you're about to retire. Then what you do?
You stuck.
Right.
Exactly.
Work until you 100.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm mad. So, so there was a last Super Bowl, there was this commercial with this old timer on the fire hose. right? And he was, you know what I'm saying? He was frail. wait. He was frail. He was on a fire hose, and the fire hose was blowing him all over the place. And he was trying to hold, you know what I'm saying? Like, he put both legs on a fire hose, and he was trying to hold it down, but it was blowing him all over the place. And the young people was just sitting back looking at him. And he was like, they was like, can't work forever.
Right.
It's like, you can't work forever.
No.
And I think that as I had a health issue in 2020, Mandy had a health issue from 2020, and it's like you're sitting in a hospital and you realizing that you're not a spring chicken, right? You're not going to be here forever.
Right.
And that you have this health problem now. And like I said in the beginning of the show, like that Toastmasters presentation where somebody that was in investments was talking to us, and they were like, people plan for investments, but they don't plan for health problems.
Mm-hmm.
They don't plan for paying for medication. And that's a shortcoming of not planning early.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the caveat of me inviting you on the show today, because I don't think a lot of us plan for that health problem. What else can you tell people that may be midstream, maybe in their 30s or 40s, and what changes do they need to make to their investments, or what changes do they need to make in their savings or their 401k vehicle to plan for the next 10 years or the next 20 years?
So I would say if your income affords it, start a Roth IRA, right? Because that's another tax-free vehicle for the future that you can get some tax-free income. Get some life insurance.
Okay. Roth IRA, life insurance.
Get life insurance. The younger you are, the cheaper it's going to be.
Okay.
Right.
And so if you are able to get it with the good company, they'll have what they call conversion, meaning you can buy term, buy a whole lot of it while you're young. It's cheap. And as you get older, you can convert portions of it over.
And when you say convert portions
into a whole life,
over,
into a whole life policy, so that you don't outlive the insurance, basically.
Okay.
And the cost remains relatively affordable. 10% savings, that's like the standard benchmark. They say save 10% is what your income can allow you to do, right?
Right.
Because if you got a high cost of living, the reality is you can't save 10% because your money is going somewhere else.
Right.
But if you're able to bare minimum 10%, you could do more. Definitely diversify. You don't want to take on too much risk. So you got to know what type of person you are before you jump in the game.
Okay.
Also, I would say have a clear investment goal when you invest, so that you're just not throwing money out there into different things.
And when you say clear investment goal, do you sit down with a professional such as yourself to kind of outline what your abilities and your goals should be for the long term?
That's one way of doing it. Yes, you do. That's financial advisor. That's typically what they do. Is help you map that out. But really, it's your answers, your life, your lifestyle that you are trying to accomplish.
Right.
They have either the product or expertise that you don't have to help you get there.
Right.
But you have to be clear on what you want. So if you're not clear on that, then it's kind of, we spin in circles.
Okay. Now, one of the things when it comes to diversifying that I'm actually into is with stocks. Mm-hmm. So I have like stocks, like a whole company that we work for together. Friday I sold some shares because the market was going up and it was at its highest point. So I said, let me sell now, because I don't know when after the election, if it go down. But do you encourage people to diversify when it comes to the stock market or like Forex? Because I know a lot of people in the Forex trading. I was kind of considering that instead of like just the regular stock market. But besides the 401k, do you tell people to get into like the stock market or anything?
As far as diversification, that's just spreading out your risk so that it's not as risky, right? So you want to have investments in different classes. Stocks is one class of investment. Real estate is another class of investment. Crypto is another class.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. Bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, gold, right? Precious metals.
Saving gold too, physical gold.
Right. So all of those different things are different ways to diversify. So I don't believe you should just have only stock. While stocks are good and traditionally, they outperform inflation. So that's the other part about investing.
Right.
It's long term, right? You can't just be like, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to make this money real quick and get out. Some people do, but the majority don't. And they take a big loss.
And that's the reason why it's good for young people to get in early, because they have a longer length of time,
right,
in order to be
recover
in the market
from the losses.
And
exactly.
recover from the losses. As people, like, I'm 49, I don't have that much time
exactly.
to recover from the losses unless I get into something like the real estate mix, or something that's going to allow me longevity of time. Because who knows how much longer I'm going to live. You know what I'm saying? So, with you saying crypto, I've done a review of somebody that wrote a book on cryptocurrency. Carl Loza, North Carolina. Carl, we love you. He talked about cryptocurrency, about how getting into the game and how learning about the game and how the longevity of the game. Because cryptocurrency is something new. Is that something that you would advise people looking into? And then is it something that people would look into if they're younger, if they're older? What's your spin on that?
As with any investment, you have to do your research.
Okay.
And I would say, if that's the way, if it's interesting to you, if you're interested in it, do your research on it, right? Find out how it works. And I think, honestly, the reality is, I think it's going to come about even into our banking system. Yeah. JP Morgan Chase is already, they working on digital money. So it's going to come. It came at a time where, I'm going to say, to us, as the general public, wasn't expecting it, and it began to shake up some things. But once the government started really looking into it, they see value in it. So it's only a matter of time before it becomes, more mainstream.
Common
right,
sense.
And it's actually used as a medium of exchange legally.
Okay.
So, yeah, do your research on any investment, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks, whatever. You need to know the company that you about to become an owner in, because that's what a stock is.
Right.
The ownership interest in the company. So,
I think what I've learned in my time in being a kind of consultant with businesses, it's like sometimes the people don't realize what they're delving into. So you become the subject matter expert of the direction of where your client is going. So are you advocating that we need to, as the clients, we need to be like looking into what we're doing, or can we lean on your level of expertise to kind of shadow us in the direction that we need to be going for the best interest of what our end goal is supposed to be?
Well, I like to educate, right?
Okay.
So if you sit down, it's going to be educational.
Okay.
Because if you don't understand what you're getting into,
right,
and it doesn't make sense to you,
right,
you're not going to buy into it.
Okay.
And so it does me no good to have you ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because we can't build a relationship like that.
No doubt.
And the whole, for me, it's not about selling you something. It's the relationship. Will there be a point where you say, I trust you enough to just make decisions on my behalf? Yes. But that's because I've given you what you did not have. Some education about why this is good, why that is good, why this ain't good. Right? And so if I don't educate you and I just sell you something, I cheated you.
Right.
I think that what I've learned, and I know Markel can say this, what I've learned along the way is that clients sometimes want you to make the decisions for them, as opposed to, like you said, the person being educated to make the best decision for themselves. Like it's, well, Corey, what would you do?
Yeah.
Well, this is what Corey would do. But just because it's what Corey would do, ain't mean that's what Jeff would do.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So you feel like you're sometimes making a decision for somebody that has not educated themselves.
Right. And you do, which is why, like I said, it has to be an educational experience. But my job is not to make the decision unless you give me the authority to make the decision, right? And so if I'm going to act in a fiduciary responsibility, then I have to act in your best interest.
Understood.
And you like working more so, it seems like in the partnership, you want your client to be as engaged about their future as you are. If you supposed to be helping them, you need them to say, hey, well, I'm going to look into this. I'm a research, and then we can collab on what would work best. And it has to be a partnership. You say it's a mutual thing. I might come into the situation not knowing much about stocks, but after having some consultations, after paying however much the services is costing, I would like to come out smarter on the other end, rather than saying, okay, I paid someone to do this stuff. Yeah, my money is looking good. I don't know how it got there, but he did what he was supposed to do. I hope he lives forever so that he could keep doing it. I don't know anything. So it's you definitely want to be in partnership with whoever you're working with, even if they're the expert and you're not too fluent in what's going on. You gotta be engaged. You gotta be a co-pilot in your life at least.
Agree, because the reality is, before you ever buy a product, you have to buy into the person that's sitting in front of you.
Wow.
Right.
That's deep.
Because if you don't buy into them and you don't believe they got your best interest, or I don't care how much money, if you invest in 500 or 5 million, you ain't gonna give it up.
Yep. You're right.
So, it is a partnership. It's a relationship. I have something you don't have, and vice versa.
Right.
So we coming together. You want to know how you can get X, Y, Z in the future, whether it's buy your first home, whether it's save for your kids' college, whether it's retirement. I have a knowledge. You want it. I'm willing to share it.
Right.
But you got to be willing to listen.
Right.
Wow.
Take the advice, right?
Wow.
And so, if best for you, okay, cool.
Now, I have a question more so for the individuals that's like entrepreneurs. So I know we were talking about people that's employed. If you get a 401k from your job, okay, that's something that's helping you go towards your retirement. But if you're self-employed, if you have your own business, what does that person who's just, invested a lot of money into their business, they're trying to build something for themselves and their family, something, a legacy, what would be the services you would say for them to get into as far as investing, seeing as though they won't have like the 401k?
Well, so small businesses, if you have employees, then you can, like a simple IRA, it's another type of qualified account that you could use that's similar to a 401k. It's just designed for, you can get them for nonprofits, you can get them for different organizations, and it just really depends on the size of your company. And so you could do that. But again, as far as legacy, life insurance, tax free. The death benefit is tax free, and whereas you can pass along a 401k, but with the Secure Act that passed at the end of 2019, coming into 2020, you can't stretch it out like you used to, right? So, for example, somebody leaves you $1 million 401k IRA, right? And before, you could take that, just take chunks off of it for your, 20, 30, 40 years. And so that it doesn't mess with your taxable income as much, right? Because you still got a job, but you got this extra $1 million that you didn't have before. Right? And so with the Secure Act, they say you got to use it in 10 years, right? So that means you have to take $100,000 a year, or you got to take $500,000 here, a couple $100,000 here. But at the end of 10 years, you have to have used that $1 million. So with life insurance, you don't got to worry about the tax issue because it goes tax-free to whoever the beneficiary is. And so if you want to leave a legacy, your family will appreciate you knowing I'm going to get a straight cool $1 million versus I might get $750 after taxes, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, they spend it before the taxes get taken out. So,
right. So, life insurance is a must.
Life insurance. Okay.
It's a must, and I think it's an underutilized tool in the black community, partly because of education. We're not having these conversations to say, get some life insurance, right? It don't cost you that much. You're 25, you can afford $20 a month, right? Yeah. You can afford it. Because at 25, you typically in tip-top health, right? $1 million policy, $25 a month.
How can you lose?
You can't, and your family wins, right?
Absolutely.
So that's really the best legacy tool is life insurance. Leaving businesses and things like that, that's cool. Do that. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying
on top of leaving the business,
right? Leave life insurance.
Leave life insurance.
Wow.
So they be good when you're gone.
So if they need to get in contact with you, Jeff, social media handles for the viewers.
So I just started up my my company, Fowlkes Financial and Insurance LLC. I am on Facebook. My Facebook page is up. The handle is Jeffrey Fowlkes FFI if you want to just find me, or you can put in my name, Jeff M. Fowlkes, pop up, or Jeffrey Fowlkes, whichever one. My cell number is my business number at the moment, 571-970-7630. I'm on LinkedIn under another account, and I'm working on getting this new business page up on LinkedIn as well. So right now, that's it.
That is it. Jeff Fowlkes, planning for retirement. Corey Fauconnier, Arkel Prines, Talks Over Drinks. Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Hey, all right, let's talk over drink.
Talks over drinks, talks over drinks. We can have a conversation. You can say what you think. I'm 40 plus and still rocking to this hip hop beat. Bring it live and direct right here from Broad Street. I pray that my lyrics do find you well, cause it's me, MSB, and a guy named Markel. Dwight Jason, you know he fan. Invite indie musicians coming straight slam. I got swerving beat sounds on the ones and twos, and together, united, we gon' bring it to you. We the RVA Rap Pack crew. So take your pick, Comcast or YouTube. No disrespect, I don't mean to be rude, but these other talk shows can't do what we do. I stay with the lyrics, some call me Dread Dude. Difference of opinion should not be called sin. Tell the truth, yo Dread, where you been? Invest a few minutes, I hope you tune in, yo. Politics, economics, education. These are topics across the whole entire nation. Keep it 100, we gon' talk about them, yo. Bring your kids, tell your mama and a friend. Yo, it's toast over drinks. Toast over drinks. We can have a conversation. You can say what you think.
Let's talk over drinks. Pull up a chair and let's chill. Let's party, let's talk and let's build. Alright, let's talk over drinks. We over here keeping it real, saying exactly how we feel. Come on, let's talk over drinks. Pull up a chair and let's chill. Let's party, let's talk and let's build. Alright, let's talk over drinks.